Hey guys, Will here. It is the middle of January and I have never done a winter loadout video, so I thought it'd be fun to finally do one. I am loaded up as if I were gonna go out for an overnight camping trip in the middle of winter. It's not happening today, as much as I wish that was happening, but hopefully soon. In the meantime, I do want to show off some of the gear that I would probably be taking on such a trip. So let's get started. First off, I got a little cheapo 5x7 tarp that I picked up at Walmart years ago. Not sure if they still carry these, but they are Outdoor Products brand. And the whole purpose of this would just be to simply spread out the gear on, keep it off the snow, and make it become my stage here. All right, so the first thing off the top of my pack here is my Thermarest Z-Lite pad. I don't necessarily have to take this, but it's an extra comfort item that can go under my air pad and provide that much more insulation and that much more comfort in case the air pad kind of deflates a little bit, which often happens in extreme temperature changes from warm to cold. So this is kind of a extra luxury item for me for winter trips. Not only that, it can serve as a little seat cushion, and yeah, easy to set up, easy to take down, gives me a little extra padding to sit on or kneel on in this case. So lots of uses for something like a Z-Lite, especially on a winter trip. So let's have a look at what's in the top of my brain here, or my pack lid. Carry a little buff, little bandana buff thing, multiple uses. I can throw this around my neck, keep my neck warm. Multi-use item. If you don't know what a buff is, look it up. And yeah. Let's see, for more extreme winter or hanging around in camp, I carry some extra items to help keep my head warm in the in the nighttime as it gets cold or colder. So I've got a little thick fleece hat here. This is one I'd probably just sleep with, and another little buff here. Forgot I had that in there, so probably be fine with just one buff, but two doesn't hurt. For windy conditions, I do have this little face mask thing here. Goes around like this. I don't always like to wear that, but again, if it gets really windy and chilly, this is nice to have. Do have a little extra set of gloves. These gloves are actually ones I'd probably wear on trail. They have a little mitten thing that comes over, helps protect the hands from wind. But nice lightweight fleece gloves, but otherwise real handy here. I can tuck that mitten thing, a little pocket there out of the way, and the brand is 180s. So really like those gloves. Carry my tent stakes. Usually carry MSR groundhogs. Use those throughout the year on all my tents and hammock staking. And this is just an old, little cheapo eyeglass case that's got a little bendy opening on it. So I've repurposed that into a little tent stake holder, and it's just really handy and convenient. Got a compass carry just in case that's needed. see, got water filter system here. My knock bag here, CNOC or Canuck. I always forget how to say that. But definitely carry that bag just about on any trip now. And then I've got my VersaFlow water filter. Reason I especially like this one in the winter time is it's got the double-ended nozzle covers, so built-in coverage there, easy to throw in my pocket, keep it in my pocket so it doesn't freeze at night. Throw it in my sleeping bag with me. And again, I don't have to worry about water leaking out with those built-in caps there. So I really love this, especially for winter use. Got a little fire kit here. Includes a little set of waterproof matches, the little striker inside there. Got a little flint and steel striker here. Little fire starter cube, and just for extra, little package of lint, just laundry lint from the dryer. So plenty of fire starting utility there. Let's see, got my little Sea to Summit spork here, long handled spork. What else do I got? Got a little camp saw here. This is just a cheapo Coghlan or a Coghlan brand, however you say that. But you can find that just about anywhere that sells camping supplies. But it works really well and pretty lightweight. So whenever I intend to do a lot of woodworking, wood cutting, this gets the job done pretty well. Let's see. I don't know why this is still in here. It's a mosquito head net that is not going to get used in the winter, so just got stuck on something else when I was loading up. Got my toilet kit here. Comes with hand sanitizer, toilet paper, and a Vargo titanium trowel. And then I got a Ziploc in there too for packing out the toilet paper after it's used. What else we got? All right, got a headlamp, my black diamond spot here. And then I think it's a spot, might be the Storm. I forget, gotta go back and look that up. But either way, really nice black diamond headlamp there. And then I've got an OON little flashlight here, and this is primarily to use as a lantern because it doubles up as a lantern. Hang that up in my tent or set it up in my igloo or whatever I'm sleeping in, Kinsey, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Carry with me some hand warmers, gotta have those. And that's about it for my lid here. Strapped onto the outside of my pack, I have got some things I'd probably wear on the trail, more depending on the trail I was on, but I'd likely be using my spikes here. So instead of the Cthulhu brand spikes most people have, I tend to use the Hill Sound mini crampons or micro spikes, and I just like these because when I got them, they happen to have a little bit better design on them than the Cthulhu brand before Cthulhu revised their brand to deal with a issue with the snow caking up on them. But anyhow, I like the little flexible thing here. These have like slightly longer teeth than the Cthulhu brand, so a little bit better traction, and they come with a little strap to just help secure them on your feet a little tighter. And they work great for the hard packed trails and icy trails. For less traveled trails and for the deeper snow and for meadows, backcountry meadows, we're going to be needing to tamp down a lot of snow to maybe set up a place to pitch your tent or set up your Kinsey or build an igloo. Then obviously snowshoes are good to have, so these are snowshoes I carry. They were a store brand from a local recreation shop here. The brand is Adventure Research. So you pick these up, or some just like it, through recreationoutlet.com or recoutlet.com. But yeah, it's a local recreation store in my county here, and that's where I got these, and I like them. Nice little hybrid between rigid plastic and the aluminum tubes, and they work pretty well for all around snowshoeing. Not the lightest set. I'd love to have MSR Lightnings for ultimate lightweight snowshoes, but until then, these are getting the job done. Now, elsewhere on the outside of my pack here, I have strapped in a snow shovel. Again, if I'm going to be building a Kinsey or building an igloo with this thing, I'll show off in a minute here. Definitely going to carry a snow shovel with me. This is a really lightweight, packable backcountry shovel, and yeah, good to have. It's extendable and very portable. I can also pop the plastic shovel scoop part off here and actually pop it onto the handle here and use it to pull back snow that way. So it's pretty versatile in that way. All right, so this thing is probably what a lot of you might be wondering about. What the heck is this? Well, this is a really cool tool from a brand called Grand Shelters, and it's called an IceBox Igloo Maker. And it's a packable igloo making tool. If I open it up here, I won't put it all together here, but these are all the pieces to it. But it basically turns into this mechanical arm that pivots, that stakes into the ground with this little stake. You assemble the poles, and then that pivots off the stake onto a brick maker here that these side panels come together to form. And it's a three-sided brick maker that again attaches to the pole, stakes into the ground, and it pivots in a circle all the way around as you build your igloo blocks. And then it just ultimately creates the dome, and it's just really handy for getting a nice, solid, strong, uniform igloo. The downside of this is it's a little bit heavy. I mean, it's no heavier than a standard 1-2 person all-season tent, but it is kind of bulky, and it takes a long time still. It's like an all-day effort to build an igloo, especially solo. You could probably get one done in a half a day with 2 people who know what they're doing and are well practiced with it and working together. But in my backyard, I've made a handful of these things over the years, and usually working solo for most of it, and it definitely takes the better part of a full day to making igloos. So if I had a partner with me who was up for it, and again, well practiced with it, knew what they were doing with it, ready to put in the labor, this is a fun thing to play with and make igloos with. And the benefit of that too is depending on where you set it up, you can come back to it over and over again through the winter if you have it well secluded, and it'll be there all winter long to return to and use that igloo, sleep in it all season long. So that's the advantage to that. Another advantage to having all day to do it, or the half a day to use it, is keeps you busy, gives you something to do, keeps you moving and active, and you stay really warm while constructing the igloo. So yeah, not something I'd take on every trip, but if I had the time of day to do it, definitely something fun to do. All right, getting into the pack here. Something I ended up packing in here, I meant to pack in the lid, is this OR Outdoor Research hat. Now this is the hat I would probably be using just hanging out in camp, because I just love the style of it. It's got the old school style. It's got a little rim here, but what I also love about it is, really, can you put this up? It's got a little face mask here, and super cool, super warm, other than my glasses fog up when I do that. So yeah, that's my Outdoor Research fleece winter cap here. All right, let's get into the guts of the pack here. Actually, check that. Let's pull out the rest of the stuff. I do carry a Nalgene bottle in the winter time. One reason for that is I will able to tip the water upside down, and if it's gonna freeze, it'll freeze on the top first before it makes its way down to the bottom there, and then you can tip it over and still open the cap, drink from it. But more than anything, I love to boil about 1 liter of water before I go to bed, or close to that, and then dump it in here, all hot and steamy, and then I will put it in a thick, extra large boot sock and tuck that in bed with me, and that will keep me warm throughout most of the night. I've even woken up some mornings with it feeling warm still. And bonus to that is you've got warm, thawed out water. You don't have to worry about frozen water, and it boils super fast in the morning for quick hot chocolate or coffee or whatever hot drink of choice you might have. But I also carry a simple smart water bottle too, just for extra capacity. All right, on the outside of my pack, strapped on here, don't know if you can see it, I've got to light my fire, fire starting knife. It's a Mora knife, and that goes with me just about on every trip. It's just another little luxury item to have. Can baton wood with it, can cut fish with it, you know, lots of uses for it. I also have my inReach strapped on to the outside, and a sunglasses case, things that go with me on just about any trip. Now we'll get into the guts of the pack here. Got my first aid kit. Let's see, I've got a pair of snow pants that I carry with me on trips like this. This is for extra warmth on my legs if I need it while sitting around in camp, but also if I'm going to be playing around the snow or working in the snow a lot and kneeling down in the snow quite a bit. I do like to have the snow pants on, so those are nice to have. Little GSI insulated backpacker mug here. Now for my cook kit, it's a toss-up. I wouldn't bring both of these on the same trip, but it usually comes down to one of these two cook pots. It's either a GSI halulite kettle here, or I will bring my Camp pot here. It's the Camp XTS pot here. They both carry, or they both hold about a liter of water. So again, perfect for boiling a liter of water to pour into my Nalgene bottle. But the toss-up between the two is, this is really nice for like scooping up snow. It's just got good handles on the side there, makes it easy to scoop up snow if I'm going to be in an area where I'm going to need to rely on melting snow to boil to get my water. And it's also got the advantage of having the flux ring, very similar to jet boil, to help with heating efficiency. But if I'm not going to count on melting snow, if I'm going to be in a place where there's a running stream or close to a little creek that runs all season long, and I can just dip into there for water, I'm likely not excuse me, I'm likely not going to take this pot. Instead, I'm more likely to take the GSA halulite. Reason being is it's in every other way easier to handle. Got the nice little lid here for pouring water out and keeping control, but it's also just more stable. It's got the wider base, and therefore water is just going to heat faster and take up a little less fuel, in theory, to heat up a wider, shallower amount of water here. All right, to go along with my cook kit, depending on the pot I use, the stove of choice, especially for harsher winter conditions, midwinter, is this MSR WindPro 2 kit that I've got. I will do a separate video that goes in depth looking at this, but just know that this is my choice of stove for winter use. If it's a less extreme winter conditions, I'd probably take my jet boil, because jet boil do just fine in more moderate conditions. But anyways, moving on. My tent here that I would use if I'm taking a tent, especially in, again, harsh, more traditional backcountry Utah winter temperatures, would be the Walrus Terremoto. And again, this is if I'm not going to build an igloo, or I'm going out and don't have the time to build an igloo, or even a Kinsey, because Kinseys can be fun too. Then I'll definitely take the tent, and this is called a Walrus Terremoto tent. It's the very first backpacking tent I ever bought 20 years ago, and yeah, still have it. So it is a 3 convertible to 4 season tent. It's 2-person, so it's kind of heavy, but the inner body of it will set up as a single wall tent. That means all the mesh panels actually have liners that zip over them to enclose the whole thing, and then it's of course got a full body fly to go over it. It's rather thick and heavy winter fabric, so it can actually trap an extra barrier of air in there to hopefully help insulate the tent a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely a real solid 4-season tent, especially for wintertime use, and I like it, so I've held on to it for 20 years. That and for nostalgic reasons. Also have a ground sheet that came with it. Now for the sleeping pad, I have a choice. I can either go with my wife's Thermarest X-Therm. Its R value is, I believe, 5.4 or 5.7, something like that. Yeah, so I can use that. I have used it. She doesn't usually like to go out in the camp in the middle of winter, so if she's not coming along, this is an option for me. Otherwise, she would definitely get it. But I'm not a fan of the Thermarest X-Lite and X-Therm pads, because I'm just not into the horizontal baffles. It's not that they're not that comfortable, it's just they're a pain to roll up and get packed back up. It takes a lot more effort to get the air out of those horizontal baffles because you're rolling perpendicular to the way those baffles are. I much prefer the convenience of rolling up vertical baffles or even matrix style baffles. It just rolls out, deflates and rolls up so much nicer in my experience. So I now also carry I also have these Climate Insulated V Ultralight SL now that I will probably start using throughout the season. I have yet to sleep on this through the winter time yet, but I'm going to give it a go, especially if I have my Thermarest Z-Lite with me. I would definitely just pair that up with this pad. And not only is it a little bit lighter weight than the X-Therm, but again, a lot easier to deflate with the style of baffles on here, and it's comfortable for me. But if I wanted to leave the bulk and extra weight of the Z-Lite, Thermarest Z-Lite home, then again, I could get away with the X-Therm, and this would be sufficient for winter warmth insulation, even down to like 0 degrees. I will carry an extra little Mylar blanket here, and this, again, I can line the bottom of my tent with it, get a little bit of reflective heat out of it, put it under my sleeping pad, and you know, every little thing helps, and you know, this almost weighs nothing, so it's good to have. Got a little electronic kit that just carries my little charger, headphones, a little camera lens cleansing kit, and you know, basically anything that it's going to be useful for keeping me entertained, passing the time, and taking care of my electronics while I'm in my tent or in my shelter, and yeah, needing to pass the time and entertain myself in those long winter nights. Little hygiene kit here. It's got my toothbrush, toothpaste, and some body wipes in there. This is a little fleece liner with a little memory foam pad. I can stuff it with clothes or a little air pillow, or you know, jacket, whatever I have to make it a little pillow out of it. But I also, for extra comfort, will pack along this just a packable camp pillow from Ozark Trail. Got this at Walmart, so it's their Walmart brand, and you know, don't have to worry about fussing with air and valves with it. It's just a little packable stuffed pillow that it's got fleece on one side of it, just real nice and warm. And here's my clothes bag. I just carry a fleece bottoms, and then a lightweight pair of fleece bottoms, and a fleece base layer long sleeve shirt, and some thick thermal insulative socks to make sure my feet stay nice and cozy warm. And then I also carry an extra pair of socks in here, mainly to take the one to slip my Nalgene bottle in and you know, help provide that radiant heat from the hot water while I sleep. And then lastly, I have my sleeping bag, which in this case, the only time I use it in the middle of winter is a Teton Sports Altos Zero. And yeah, it's the compression bag comes in. I don't compress the heck out of it because I have such a big pack that I pack all my winter gear in use. So this fills out the bottom nicely just like that. And yeah, this is a down bag, Ian rated to 0 degrees, and it does the job. It keeps me plenty warm. Lots of loft to it when it expands out. And not the lightest bag, but you know, it's fairly lightweight. It's only 650 fill, so it is a cheaper down bag, but it is also hydro treated for water resistance, or at least, you know, being able to still insulate you if it gets damp. But a 0 degree bag, definitely want one of those when camping in the middle of winter, where you're getting down to like, you know, teens, single digits, 0 degrees. Very good to have. All right, so lastly is the pack itself. This is a Teton Sports Grand 5500. 5500 being 55 cubic inches, I believe, which I think translates to something in the ballpark of 70 liters. I'll have to double check that, but this is a huge pack and love it for winter use because of all the stuff I can strap on the outside of it, but also everything it can hold, all the thicker, heavier gear that I've got. It's got a nice sturdy frame on it, and so I'm only using it in the winter time for all this extra gear. And if I'm packing out with like one of my younger kids or on a family trip and I need to carry extra gear for kids in my family, yeah, I can pretty much pack for two with this thing, with one of my younger kids if I want to take them up a trail short distance. So, oh yeah, I forgot, tent poles, can't forget those. So that's my winter loadout as of January 2020, you know, for time being. So that just gives some, hopefully that gives you guys some ideas for those wanting to get into winter backpacking. These are kind of things to take a look at, not necessarily these exact brands, but this kind of, you know, comparable items for each item I take. It's probably something you'd want to consider taking for yourself to help ensure a little more comfort and warmth when you're sleeping outside in the winter. So, in the meantime, I'm gonna get this packed up and wrap this up. So, again, hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and see you guys on the next video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't.